Morning.
Menteri Rangba ke Jela, Khliehriat ke Sangma ha ke Pratrik no pra, la Aiti ke bus skul, ke bala baiting kaling ba ke Chief Minister's Special Development Fund, sya ke Khliehriat High Secondary School Khliehriat East Giant Hills. Ha ke ni ke singi, layadon lang ru MLA ke Khliehriat uba kermen shela, ki no hikai ki kena skul nalor ki officer sorkar jo ke district. Ha ke ni ke jing Aiti ya ke ni ke bus, Menteri Rangba ula yok ru banyakran bat ki kena skul ki bala keli jing keli ha ke baya de bat ke jinglong jingman ha ke liang ke pule puthi ha ke jela ke jing di drang bat ki kam khayi drang ki but shimet jong u banyale persha ya ke jing sha kentho bat pen pau ru halor ke jing don kam ya ki digital library.
Respected brother and principal for being very thoughtful. In fact, jokingly I'm saying that, I'm sorry. But I also believe that interaction is maybe the best way because we get to understand what our students also are thinking. So just wanted to thank all of you. I know it's a very busy day for you, you have exams, and to be very frank, if any VIP had come to my school during my exam, I would be very angry. So I can understand what you must be going through. So I'll make it very short.
First of all, I'm a very great fan of yours, and I can't imagine that you're standing right in front of us today. First of all, honestly, sir, we are so blessed, so grateful, and so honored by your visit. No short, but we are very much excited when we heard of your coming. Though last year we missed you at the closing ceremony celebration of Golden Jubilee of our school, but you're here today. As we all know, sir, you're a very highly and reputable leader. So some big question for you is, being a leader, how do you deal or tackle criticism with and against the opposition? Because we as a student, we also face this situation. Sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you feel sad, and sometimes you feel low. So we like to hear from you, sir. How do you deal with this type of situation?
I think the only way to deal with situations like these is not to take it too seriously in one way. By that I don't mean that criticisms are not important. They are important. I always look at criticism in a positive manner. I feel that there is something for me to learn from it. I feel that there is something that I'm doing wrong and the reason why people are criticizing. So I don't look at it negatively. I think that's the first thing that I do. And therefore I urge all of you, in life you will face situations, where among friends you will hear gossips. Among friends you will hear that some group is talking something bad about you. And it starts all the way from school and goes all the way through your life. All I can tell you is, don't let it bother you. The moment you let it bother you, that's when things starts going wrong. In your conscience, in your mind, in your heart, you should know that you are doing the right thing. That's all that matters. So therefore, don't let criticism in any way bring you down or create some doubt in you. Take it in a positive stride. Take the good things out of it. Correct something if it has to be improved. But if you think that it is nothing but noise that is just being made by somebody to irritate you or bother you, just learn to ignore it. So that's my only advice I can give to you. But as I said, I have realized this, that in today's world, all this kind of criticism and talk starts as early as secondary school, and children are going through a lot of difficulties, I know that. And therefore I think you'll have to learn to adapt to it and grow, and as I said, focus on what you have to do. Life is very long ahead, a long journey, a lot of things to be done. If you start to get worried about all the criticism that comes in, then it can become very difficult for you. So learn how to filter it, learn how to take the good things out of it, learn how to improve yourself, and continuously be positive and move ahead. Thank you so much.
So sir, I also have a question to you. Myself, Saptadipa Paul, and I'm from Syllad Standard. So, it's a very common news around the state that people are doing drug trafficking, drugs trading, and recently we have also seen in Shillong that ANTF had arrested 4 people for drugs trafficking. So, sir, can you share with us, as a leader, how do you deal with such a drug circle through ANTF and other NGOs, please?
That has been doing an excellent job in the last 3 to 4 years to be able to seize a large quantity of drugs. You will be close to 1,000 crores worth of drugs has been seized by our police personnel. That's a large amount, and all of it has been destroyed. So police is working over getting, a lot of work is happening, but of course the drug menace is so big that 100% cannot be stopped. There are certain cases which get through, and that is where the problem lies. But police is doing excellent job. I hope that in the future we'll have much more. Don't let drugs or the wrong things in life, especially at this age that you are in right now, there will be multiple distractions and multiple people telling you why you should do it. But if you can tell yourself in your heart and in your mind that you will not, that is going to be the point of, a turning point for you in your life. And for this, as we come together to ensure that the usage is not there. And for that also, of course, from the government side, we also are doing a lot of crackdown on the local movement or local why we will be following it up with other district headquarters. But it is more of a social network, and I hope that we'll be able to play a important and hand in hand and help these youths who are into drugs on how they can come out of it, because it's not just health part. There's a lot of psychological counseling that's required. There's a lot of issue of post recovery where you need to ensure that they are kept busy, given livelihood. The issue of drugs and the drug menace as a whole.
So, as a leader, I would like to know from you, might be you have some plan for better education index. And I do believe that we, the students, the teachers, and the entire education community got some role to play. So, would you please like to share with us some messages where we all can play a best education role to implement the better tomorrow or better future?
Thank you. In 2018, one of the two departments, the two most difficult departments in front of us was actually education and power department. I won't go into details of why power department, but these were the biggest challenges, even now they are. But coming back, when education was there, which started off, we realized exactly the same point that you mentioned, that the PGI, we were right at the bottom. And of course, we realized that maybe we need to start to spend a bit more. We need to start improving the infrastructures in the schools. We need to start training the teachers. We need to start improving the quality of maybe the teaching materials, and so on and so forth. And you'll be surprised and happy to know at the same time that our budget for education in the last 7 years has gone up from 2,000 crores today to about 3,500 crores. So therefore, we have seen almost close to a 75% jump in the budget allocation for education, which we thought and hoped that it would make the difference that we all desire. But you know what? After 4-5 years of spending the money, we realized that it's not just the buildings, and it's not just the training of the teachers, it's not just the textbooks. There is an inherent structural deficiency in the education system in Meghalaya. And that's when we started a very long process of analyzing and going deep into the problems faced by the education department. So let me share to you what that problem is. The problem is, Meghalaya has too many schools. You'll be surprised to know that. And I'll explain to you why. Meghalaya's population is about 38 lakhs. Tripura's population is at about 45 or 48 lakhs. Do you know how many schools Tripura has? Tripura has 4,000 schools. Do you know how many schools Meghalaya has? Meghalaya has 15,000 schools. So our population is less than Tripura. Tripura is at 45, we are at about 38. But Tripura has 4,000 schools and we have about close to 15,000 schools. Tripura has about 40,000 teachers. Meghalaya has 55,000 teachers. Now you'll ask, well, why is that a problem? It's good if you have many schools, and you're right. But then if you dig deeper into the problem, that's when the real issue comes out. You go to most of the villages in our school. You will have, in that same school, in that same village, one LP school that is run by the government, which has 5 teachers and 5 students. And then you will have one school run by SSA program, which has 4 teachers and 5 students. And then you will find one ad hoc school run by some mission, which again has 10 students but 5 teachers. And then there's another 4th school, which again is run by a different mission and different denomination, which again has 5 teachers and maybe 6 students. So what happens if you count all of them together? In that one village you have close to 18 teachers and you have only about 25 students put together. And this large number of students, a large number of teachers and large number of schools that we are having, which are structured in a very segregated manner, which are not talking to each other, are not working with each other, creates a large level of inefficiency in the system. Now this problem is again further, kind of further expanded exponentially, because then when you go up, the management committees are run by different bodies. So you'll have the government LP school running the government LP. Then when the children go to UP, it is run by the SSA, a different managing committee. Then suddenly in that same village you go to secondary school, it is run by ad hoc, by some mission maybe, a different managing committee. And then when you go to the higher secondary, you realize that again it's a different managing committee running the whole show. So you have an unstructured, unconnected system of education right from LP all the way to higher secondary. These kind of inherent structural problems are causing a lot of inefficiency, decision-making delays, quality control, and also efficiency of overall teaching manpower within the education system, where we're not able to pay attention in the proper manner to the students. And this structure today, if I were to immediately change it and say, well, today all the ad hocs will close, or all the SSS will close, I will have 10,000 to 20,000 teachers outside the secretariat, eyeing for my head, wanting to chop off my head. So this kind of structural problems cannot be resolved in one day. It's a transition which we need to do, where we need to slowly and steadily bring the system into place. With due respect to our teachers, I'm not blaming you. Please don't think I'm blaming you, nor am I blaming the managing committee, please. It's a system and a structure that has happened in the last 50 years, which is nobody's fault. It just kept happening. We just kept having more ad hoc schools, more deficit schools. We just kept having more private schools with no system of actually having any kind of a quality control out there. You'll be surprised to know that as per the Government of India's standards, close to about 40% of our teachers are technically not qualified. Technically, they are qualified, they're very much qualified, but the qualification which is required by Government of India, somehow they don't meet those criteria. It's about 40% of them. Now, this again is a challenge. Can we just remove them? Obviously we can't. They're part of different managing committees, they're part of different schools, so on and so forth. So, I don't want to go too much into detail because it's a very complicated reply, and I don't think you have the time, and of course I also have to go so many places. But education system is a very complex, multi-knotted, kind of an entangled problem. And the only way to solve it is to untangle the knots one by one slowly, because there are political ramifications, there are educational ramifications, there are ramifications in terms of the managing committees reacting, the teachers reacting, and hence whatever reforms we want to do have to be done in a very, very systematic and a very, very planned manner, so that it doesn't disrupt the system the way we want it to. So we know the problem, we know the solution, but we can't implement the solution in one go because it's too complicated and it has too much of impact. So I don't want to go too much into detail. I wish I had a presentation. I would have shown you the slides and you would have then understood what it means. But that's why the education system is so complicated. But the good news is that we are in the process of entangling those knots. We are in the process of rationalizing our teaching faculty without affecting their livelihood. We are in the process of improving infrastructures in the different schools. We are in the process of rectifying our different textbooks and improving the quality of our textbooks and the teaching capacity at the grassroots. We are in the process of reforming the different examination modes in MBOS, so on and so forth. So there are multiple aspects taking place. But to conclude, those of you who are economics students will know that the stickiness is very high in education, which means that once I change and reform things in education today, by the time the impact is shown of this particular reform, the student has to be in class 10. So the impact will come out only 10 years later of the work that I will do. So,
sir, you are also a student once. And do you have any good practices as a student? Of course, I know that you do have some good practices as a student. So could you please share with us today, sir?
Let me put it this way. I think it would be wrong for me to give you advice. I'll tell you why. Remember that every single one of you is different. You're not the same. And you have different talents and different capacities. So some kind of advice will work for some people, and for some it will not work. And therefore, you have to find your own way of what suits you and is good for you. And if I tell you what was good for me, then the principal is going to be very angry. But I'll still say it. So, my brain is very peculiar, I'll tell you. I don't have a lot of long-term memory. I can't remember things very long, let me be very frank. I remember things in a very short burst. So for 7 hours, 8 hours, I remember things. And I can absorb 3-4 textbooks in 3 hours, and then I remember it for 6 hours, and you ask me tomorrow morning what it was, and I won't remember it. So what works for me is to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just keep reading, and go straight to the exam in the reading mode and go to the exam and come out. And principal wouldn't like that. So I don't advise you to do that. But what that worked for me is what I'm saying. I absorb things very fast, but then I forget also very fast. So if you see me in assembly, I'm always preparing in the morning of the assembly session. So I'm in assembly at 8:30, 9 o'clock. All my officers are there. I take all the information and put it into my brain, and it remains with me for about 3 hours, and then I forget it. And then I reply to questions. So my advice, of course, is that find what is good for you. Find what suits you. Understand your strengths. Understand your weaknesses. Understand where you can improve. Once you're able to find yourself and find your qualities, what is good and what is bad for you, I think then you'll be able to find your way forward. But at the end of the day, basic principles and values are there common to all, which you have to remember always. Which is always that there is no compromise to hard work. Please remember that. Either way, this way or that way, short term, long term, medium term, you have to work hard. That's something that you cannot, you cannot escape. Second thing which you cannot escape in life is discipline. Please remember, again, short term or long term, whatever way your brain works, what is good for you, you should know the discipline that is required. So I found out very early that that's how my brain works. So I used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or sometimes don't sleep also, and I study for 8 hours and go straight to the exam. So that discipline was there in me to sit for 8 hours continuously. Discipline was there in me to work hard. So discipline and hard work is something that you cannot escape. But as I said, every one of you is unique. Every one of you is different and has a talent. Find that, focus on that, and improve on that. That's my only advice to you. And while you do that, my last advice, and this may be the most important advice, whatever you do in life, please remember this, please. Because as students, you get so stuck up in the moment that you're wondering and you're caring and you're thinking about that today I need to do this, which is good. But remember, at the end of the day, no matter what you do in life, and how good you are or how bad you are, if you are not going to be a good person at heart, nothing is going to matter. Please remember this. Your humility, being kind to people, being kind to friends, is maybe the greatest quality you will ever have in your life. Remember, there is no alternate to kindness, there is no alternate to humility. Whatever position that you get in life, and if you can get that right, friends, I can tell you, you have sorted out 90% of your life. The 10% rest of the things will fall in place, trust me. But if you have everything in life and you're not humble, if you have everything in life and you're not kind, I'll tell you, you'll have a very empty life. A life that will mean nothing. A life that will not touch other people's lives. A life that will not be satisfying. A life that will not be really worth living. So please remember that. That may be the most important advice that I can give to all of you. Thank you so much.
Always, we put the best for last.
Oh.
Just like Jesus saves the best wine for last at the wedding in Cana, we've been saving our last most important request for last. So sir,
I can see where this is going. Yes.
So in our school, we have many facilities like we have a big school, good classrooms, toilets, computer labs, science labs, the best principal and vice principal, and of course the best and well-educated teachers. And the last one.
But you didn't say that to me earlier when you were coming here. You were complaining about the principal when you were walking and talking to me. But now you're saying good things about him. He's good, okay.
Yeah, he's good. And the last one which we have got recently, that is the school bus. And thanks to the efforts of our respected local MLA and your kind support, sir. Thank you so much. And we are already putting it into a good use. Last week, we went for a study trip to the village called Whistling Village, where the mothers communicate with their children by humming or whistling. Yes, so we have contributed a lot from there. So, sir, although we have all these facilities, but as a school, we still lack one important thing to complete our learning. Sir, in this present time, the art of reading is slowly disappearing. And the reason could be we don't have a library. We face this in our school also, sir. We do have a library, but with insufficient books for us for consulting. We know it, sir, that your government under your leadership are striving for a qualitative education. And it is our humble request, sir, to please kindly do something for upgrading our school library with latest technology.
It was very important. I thought you were going to ask something else. So it's great that you asked for. And you could see my body language. I was closing on, like that, because I was wondering what you're going to say. But yeah, library is something that we have always supported. You'll be happy to know that through Government of India, we managed to get a scheme especially for libraries in the rural areas. So there were 700 schools where digital libraries and physical libraries were created. So buildings were given, equipments are being installed now, and books are being given. So this digital cum physical library is under progress in 700 schools in the rural areas, funded by the Finance Ministry. And we are one of the few states in the country that got that scheme because we were very aggressive and we managed to apply at the right time. But having said that, I think you're right. We looked at the rural areas, but in the more town and urban areas, maybe we missed out. So I will definitely take this digital library and physical library concept one step forward, and I will ensure that we start taking up few schools in the town and the urban areas also, where physical books and at the same time digital technology can be improved, so that more reading material is available to the children. So a very good suggestion, and 100% your suggestions will not just help your school but many other schools in the state. So thank you so much for the wonderful suggestion.
Thank you so much, sir.
And I'm definitely doing it. Okay? Thank you.
So much. I think sir deserves the round of applause.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there we go. Can you have the camera?